Wondering how the new F1 concept car is set to change the face of motorsports? Well, so are we. Stay tuned as we dive in and explore the new F1 car mechanics and their intended purpose. The 2022 F1 car is poised to bring closer and more intense battles on a consistent basis, potentially even promising the end of manufacturer dominance, which has been a highlighted issue within F1 for quite some time, as Mercedes have undoubtedly claimed that title. The new F1 design sports several design changes, of which these include a new front wing, floor, rear wing, wheel, and tyre size, overall bodywork, and even a weight increase, all with a primary focus in a reduction of dirty air, to allow closer, more competitive racing. Considering the stats, this may be very achievable. However, it remains speculation until race day on the 20th of March to see all the science and engineering in action. Let's get into the nuts and bolts of the changes due for 2022. Formula One has demonstrated that the dirty air in previous models would drastically affect the performance of the trailing vehicle, with downforce being reduced by 35% at 20 meter trailing range and a staggering 47% at 10 meters trailing range. The new design implementations are set to remarkably reduce these effects to 4% at 20 meters and 18% at 10 meters respectively. Statistically, this sounds promising, but what does it mean for the cars? Downforce is created when the air moving over the bodywork of the car presses the car down into the track. Hence, downforce is responsible for grip, and the more grip you have, the faster you can subsequently go around a track. Additionally, the less grip you lose when attacking another driver. Thus, the closer and more sustained the attack can be. Starting from the front, the first change that we're going to be looking at is the front wing, which now has a completely different shape to its predecessor and has effectively done away with end plates. This essentially removing the inner tips of the front wing flaps, notoriously responsible for the so-called Y250 vortex. This removes the vortex and the subsequent challenge of controlling said vortex, especially when chasing down another driver. Next, the new floor design, which has been overhauled and introduces underfloor tunnels as opposed to the stepped floor previously used. This is done in order to promote large amounts of downforce, whilst at the same time producing less disruptive airflow for the trailing vehicle. This essentially allowing the downforce of the trailing vehicle to be less impacted, giving them more options and opportunities for overtakes. An implementation highly welcomed. When comparing the 2021 rear wing to the 2022 version, it is almost an entirely different approach. The new 2022 version sports a sleek design that trades in the old straight end plates for rolled tips, with the specific intention of redirecting the aerodynamic wake or airflow coming off of the car and up and over the trailing vehicle, as opposed to directly into it, such as with the 2021 version. This redirection plays a major factor in the overall reduction, as this factor has made it hard for drivers to follow in this area. The only real similarity between the new and old versions is the drag reduction system, DRS, movable flap. Other than that, we are set for a whole new stream of data due to this futuristic design implementation. The 2022 car design has opted for a sleek and less cluttered look, one that has done away with the barge boards and other gadgets used by teams to tweak and adjust the airflow along the car. The front and rear wings, in addition to the airflow tunnels in the 3D floor, have made the channeling of aerodynamic airflow a priority, especially as far as having it affect a trailing vehicle as minimally as possible. This change hardly takes a second to notice. Trading in the 13-inch wheels for 18 inches with low-profile tires gives the modernized design a rather badass and aggressive profile, with an additional introduction of over-wheel winglets, further adding to the continued efforts of producing cleaner airflow. The wheels to bring with them an increase of approximately 14 kilos to their 2021 counterparts. Adding the equivalent of 2 toddlers to the car is hardly a problem, considering the new tires will be less prone to overheating, which is a great addition to the efforts made to make F1 racing closer, for longer, and on a more consistent basis. The weight of the car will increase by 38 kilos in total, marking a 5% increase overall. Besides the wheel and tire increases mentioned earlier, the car's weight will also be heavier, due to increased safety requirements, with the aim of ensuring drivers are protected better than ever before. Therefore, chassis will now have to absorb 48 and 15% more energy respectively, which is a welcome sign considering we expect the drivers to take advantage of these new changes and to actively race in a more competitive and close contact manner. As we can tell, the new regulations have very specific goals in mind, that being driver safety and a competitive playing field across the respective teams. Other notable changes to the cars will be the fuel they run. The new F1 cars are expected to run E10 fuel, which indicates a biocomponents ration of 10%, an almost doubled ratio to that of previous regulations containing 5.75% biocomponents. This is all because F1 is continuing its target of a reduced carbon footprint. One thing that won't be channeling with the F1 2022 car is the power units. The current 1.6-litre turbo hybrid units remain the most advanced and efficient engines on the planet. Therefore, any change to the power units is only anticipated for 2025. The only real change to the power units will be the change in biofuel, as mentioned earlier. This and additional sensors will allow the FIA to monitor the power units more efficiently. We now turn our attention to the official car launch dates for the F1 2022 season, with dates confirmed for Aston Martin on the 10th of February, McLaren on the 11th, and Ferrari on the 17th. The remaining 7 teams are yet to announce their official car launch dates. However, we expect to hear within the next few days as we are set for the first official testing debut of the new generation cars between February 23rd to 25th at Catalonia, Barcelona, and then an additional testing window on March 10th to the 12th in the Middle East, before we head into the season opener in Sakir. And with that, we now have our sights set on the very first official launch dates to see whether teams will implement new liveries as we enter a new era, or stick to their current versions, of which, if you are interested, the official F1 Instagram has concept versions posted, sporting the 2021 liveries. Once we know what we're looking at, then we're going to take a look at the 2 test windows as we seek to see which team has best interpreted the new regulations leading up to the season opener. Thank you for sticking around, and see you next time. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe.